This episode is brought to you by thedolphinwars.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to King Dolphin Television. I am Raymond. I am the author of the Dolphin Wars trilogy and ruler of the greatest pod on YouTube. Tonight, we have another installment of Radio King Dolphin TV, where the pod players and I will continue to read the next installment of All's Fair. And I would like to welcome you all here, and I would like to welcome I'm calling you guys the pod players, and we've got Comic Relief Crusader, Anti-Derivative Jill, and Agent Pepsi One here, ready to go. Welcome, and thank you again for doing this.
Ooh, yeah. Ready for
You're
some
welcome.
playtime.
All right. And before we get going, I'd like to... oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, FKHC. Not ready for pod time players.
Ooh,
Yeah, I can see that.
me like
Yeah,
that.
I can see. I like that one. The not ready for pod time players. All right. So let me... before we get started, if you like Radio King Dolphin TV, if you like the interviews that we do here, all the interesting stuff, and of course, just cause, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, watch it. Get these watch hours going. I can't figure out what YouTube is doing. I'm stuck in a logjam for watch hours. Yeah. And it's just driving me nuts. But so please watch everything. And as well.
Oh, yeah. Or if you're gonna go grocery shopping, just set up a playlist and let it play while you're gone.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's true.
You know, Raymond, just to help you out, I think I'm just going to go to work and let the stuff play at home. So
That'll work too.
just to help you out.
Get this. Get this. The Star Trek one. It's my highest views, and it hasn't. It was the highest views, and it wasn't even a. It didn't translate. 220 views. 220 views for 5 hours. I can't see how that doesn't translate.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube does what they want to do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
So to strike.
Yeah, so to strike.
yeah,
Try.
he's saying I rule this pod, not you.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does. All right. So, also, if you are so inclined, please put some ducats in the bucket. The tip stream is up in the top of the chat. So help out the channel and put some ducats in the bucket. All right. And finally, I will welcome everybody who's here. And it's really just the amazing Lifeguard Corps. Starting with our producer, Sandra. Remember, this is a King Dolphin in color, a Sandra Feliciano presentation. We've got Legatus Legionii. We've got FKHC 2005. We've got Norda Pupus Cuber. We are all set to go. And of course, Trike is in. And we of course have Trike in the background barking, saying, "Get on with it." And hello, Pudgy Hedgehog.
Hey.
Who says ducats in the bucket, or as Mr. Raymond says, fudge it. And he gives everybody a hug.
Aw.
Right.
Yay.
And hello, whoever. Hello, GS. How you doing? Welcome. Who says Sandra's the best part of the show? Oh dear, oh dear. Love you, GS. All right. So we will start. I guess this is something else. So we're just going to do a little part change, and we will get started. This is for those of you who have been reading the books and just like to have the stories. This will be from All Spare, a Dolphin Wars novel. And this is from chapter 14 through 18. We've got, we've got Anti-Derivative Jill. We've got Agent Pepsi 1. And we've got the Comic Relief Crusader. And of course, yours truly, which kind of caused a little confusion because my name isn't on the list of people. But I figured that you see my picture. I don't know. But be that as it may, let us get started.
All right.
The carrier strike group went into battle readiness. All the squadrons that were left on the carrier started to generate with live munitions. The cruiser and the destroyer squadron deployed to battle positions so they could set up a carrier exclusion zone. So, in the Warhawks ready room, the squadron got into battle stations and started to generate all aircraft. Because they were in a combat setting, all the ready alert aircraft were incorporated into operations. The aviators went into the personal equipment room and did the pre-flight check of their equipment. As they returned to the ops room, Hardnose came in and announced,
"Mass briefing for all flight crews now."
All 12 assigned crews gathered. He went to the podium and started.
"Well, people, the CAG has no idea what that announcement means, but he's not about to have us caught with our pants down. He wants us to go full alert as of right now. Maintenance is generating all our aircraft to combat loads. Crew rest rules are waived for this emergency. No one will leave the squadron ready room. 2 craft every half hour until all 8 craft are up no later than 2.5 hours from now. Crews will be called when the fighters are ready for pre-flight. Once you're done, the fighter will be on alert status and you will return for squadron alert. Any small maintenance problems are waived. If the fighter can fly and fight, it goes. We had 8 sorties the first go, and maintenance is saying that there were small gripes, and we should be at 100% at our designated alert time. Stay loose and flexible. Anything can happen. Are there any questions?"
Lieutenant Sally Legs Johansson, Talon Flight Commander, raised her hand.
Skipper, what are the chances of us getting the rest of the squadron back anytime soon?
Legs, we don't know at this time. Don't be surprised if we don't see the rest of us back anytime soon.
Lieutenant Commander Dice D'Abato, Pinion Flight, asked, "What about alert birds?"
Well, we have 2 on alert on a weekly rotation until ordered otherwise. All right, people, the first craft are already generating. Steel Eye and I are on alert. Look at the board to see what your plane status is. Whoever is not generating had better be studying because we'll have air crew testing in 4 hours. Let's move, people.
Ando drank water and reviewed the carrier strike group's alert status as he waited for any word from command. He was starting to feel exhausted, but he hid it well. As soon as he received orders from command, he would head to the flag plot for a battle staff briefing. The face of Vice Admiral Teresa Robinson, the commander of flight operations for Martian Command, came on the communication screen. Her normally attractive features were showing the signs of frantic activity. She said,
Tran, you're looking good. How is Tanya?
Fine, Admiral. Still begging to get into flight gear again.
I told her that becoming an admiral is better than being an admiral's wife. I hear your boy is assigned to the Warhawks. Are you sure you want to subject him to that band of reprobates?
I can't think of anywhere else better to put him in.
I want a status report.
The group is ready. I should have all squadrons up in 2 hours and ready to conduct full combat flight operations in 3.
Great. Now, what's on your mind? As if I didn't know.
Admiral, I want my missing squadrons back. You need a full carrier wing if we're to conduct offensive operations.
Sorry, I need as much strength at the stations as I can get, especially if we have a mass exodus. You will have to deal with what you got. Force Command told us that Earth will abide by the Milan Accords. That means we are not getting help. We also heard that the Martian militia assigned ships to the Jovian and Earth approaches to keep any ships out of the sector. The Third Fleet is staying put until we get word from the Force Command. My guess is that we are playing a wait-and-see game until the diplomats can get their respective act together. All I can tell you to do right now is enforce your exclusion zone. Keep strict ROE, but you have permission to engage anyone breaching your zone.
Aye, ma'am. The screen went blank. Ando arrived at flag plot. He looked at the status and received reports. Pleased that the group was in full battle stations, he gave his commands. All right, we'll keep the group in battle status. I want that exclusion zone enforced. Launch a cap and put them in their combat orbits. The outer exclusion zone is 200 miles. The inner is 100. Anyone in the outer zone will be intercepted and persuaded to get out. Anyone in the inner zone is automatically cleared to be engaged. Anyone making the 10-mile zone around any ship will be destroyed. No questions asked. Let's make them do the first move, but our job is to ensure the safety and battle readiness of this carrier group. Let's make it happen, people. When Lorena heard the announcement, she was in the Combat Information Center conducting an alert exercise. After the announcement, Lorena slumped her shoulders. She knew that the crew of the Sterling was Martian and they were very loyal to the Martian colonies. As to where her loyalties lie, she was loyal to her father, but she had to follow the plan, and the plan was that she had to go to that bastard Ando. She looked about the CIC and saw her shipmates high-five and clap each other's shoulders. She saw that this was getting out of hand, so she yelled over the intercom.
As you were.
As the crew looked at her in shock, she said,
I don't care what you think of where your loyalties lie right now. You're on duty, and as long as I am the TACO and this ship is on alert, you will do your duty. Anything you have on your mind can stay there until you are in your bunks.
One of the crewmen opened his mouth, but she silenced him with a withering look. The CO entered the CIC just then and looked around. He pointed to Lorena and said, "Commander Taylor, come with me." She followed him to his ready room. He sat down and said, "Well, Commander, what do you think of the announcement? Historic, wasn't it?"
I can't say that I'm surprised. I knew for a long time my father had been working on independence for Mars. I think it's premature to announce it unilaterally without discussion with Earth.
Be that as it may, I think it's the right thing. So what will you do? He handed Lorena a pad. On it was a record of all the communications that she had with Jan during her time here. Lorena was shocked and said,
Sir, I protest this intrusion into my private life.
"While you're a member of my crew, I am authorized to determine where the loyalties of each of my crew members lie. Now I asked you a question. What will you do?"
At this time, I don't know, sir.
"Well, let me tell you what I will do. When this sector goes off alert status, I will resign my commission from the Space Defense Force and join the Martian militia and place the Sterling and its crew at the disposal of the Martian fleet. They will need good lieutenant commanders. You should come with us. Think about it, Commander. You'll be probably a ship commander within a month. Remember, you won't be welcome on Mars if you stay with the Space Defense Force. Is a long-distance relationship to an Earther worth the alternative?"
Sir, again, with all due respect, my personal life is none of your business. Permission to return to my duties.
Think carefully about what your future will be, Lieutenant Commander. Dismissed. Lorena left the ready room and headed to the CIC. When she returned to the CIC, she looked at the communications board. She went to the intercom to speak to the captain. "Captain, we have a force-wide message which says we're to stand down from alert. To quote the force commander, we don't want any provocations at this time. What are your orders, sir?" "Stand down from alert status. XO, please set a course to Seeker where we'll disembark any crew members wishing to leave before we head to Deimos." He looked at Lorena as he addressed the crew in the intercom. "Attention, crew of the Sterling. Whatever you decide at this time, I want to let you know that you are the finest crew I have the privilege to command. Together, we will make Sterling a fine addition to the Martian militia." After her watch, she went to her quarters. She packed her bags, went to bed, and lay there a long time before she fell asleep. After a restless night, she woke up the next morning and went through her communications board and saw a message from her father that arrived the evening before. It read only, "You will do the right thing." Signed, Father. She prepared her uniform when she heard the announcement. "We have arrived at Seeker and will dock in a half hour." As she walked around the corridors carrying her bags, she noticed that no crewman offered to help her. She ordered a crewman to assist her. He reluctantly helped her after getting a nod from a petty officer. As they walked to the airlock, she was not surprised to see that most of the crew were in gray Martian militia uniforms. She thought,
How quickly they made their decision. She was the only one who walked into the airlock.
Ando was working on status reports when his yeoman entered the office and said,
Admiral, you have a visitor. It's Lieutenant Ando.
"Send him in, please." Jan came into the office and stood at attention. Ando nodded. "Jan, what's up?" "I just heard from Lorena. She's not staying on the Sterling." "Oh, does she know what she'll do?" "Not yet. She'll probably go to Seeker. We can use somebody with her experience on the staff." "Dad, you don't have to do that for us." "I'm not. We really could use her help." "True. How soon can you get to the first shuttle to Seeker to get her?" You can tell her. I can leave tonight. Go ahead and take 2 nights off at the station. I'll clear it with hard nose. Sterling docked at Seeker the next day. Lorena exited the destroyer and headed into the airlock. As she saw Martian militia personnel leave Seeker and board the ship, she looked sad and wished she could stay, but she had her orders. She walked through the airlock and saw to her surprise that Jan, dressed in his dress blues, was the one waiting for the traditional request to enter the station. She snapped to attention, saluted, and said,
Sir, permission to come aboard?
Jan returned his salute and said, Permission granted, and may I ask you to accompany me to my humble, temporary quarters for dinner. I delegated myself to be your escort man.
I would be delighted. I have had enough of lonely shipboard quarters. She followed Jan until they were out of sight of anyone. Then she and Jan embraced and passionately kissed each other. After their kiss, she said, Damn, I missed that, Ando.
Me too, baby. Let's go. After boarding the tram car, as it sped to their quarters, Jan asked, How'd your crew take the announcement?
I think that if I were not on alert, we would have had a party in the CIC. As for me, as the book of Ruth says, where thou goest, I will.
Jan exclaimed excitedly. Hey, I have great news. Take a look.
She looked at the pad, and they were orders reassigning her to the station strike group staff. Damn you, Ando. What is this? Did you have something to do with it?
What do you mean?
I have been assigned to the group staff. It sounds like you had your psychic pod in this.
That's great news. Come on. All I said was that you were leaving your ship. It was his idea to put you on his staff. He wanted your experience.
Okay, fine. This will give me something to do, but why you? He could have sent this over the comm system.
He said I could use some time with you here at the station.
I will let my father know about this tomorrow. I heard that on 4 ships, almost half of each ship's complement went to the Martian militia.
Yeah, I heard about those 4 ships. They're docked with us right now. They aren't going anywhere because you need crews to fly them. I was surprised at how quickly the crews defected after the announcement. It's not even been 24 hours. They arrived at his temporary quarters. Jan placed his bags by hers, or her bags by his, and then as Lorena headed to the shower, he sat in a chair. Just then, he received a communication. It was Connie Hart. She said,
Lieutenant, are you and your fiancé settled in yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I am invited to breakfast by the station CAG. I want you both there so you can brief the Admiral on the status here on the station.
What time?
In about an hour.
Jan told Lorena about the meeting as she dressed. They went to the quarters of the CAG of Station Air Wing. Captain Liddell, the CAG, and Commodore Riker, the station commander, were both there. As they ate, Riker said,
As you know, your detachment was assigned over to me for the duration of your deployment. I want to let you know why I asked for it. This wing is tasked for ground support for the planet-based units. Intelligence has been spotty about the ground defenses, so any defense suppression that I can get is greatly appreciated. I want you to make planned contingency missions.
Yes, sir, Connie said. We've been doing that since we arrived.
I'll continue planning at the squadron level until further notice.
Lorena asked, do you have any idea as to how bad the damage is?
Well, remember that except for those billets that were granted by them by the Accords, Martians have habitually not been members of the Space Defense Force. I think that maybe a few will stay, mostly those who are aviators and a few with relationships with Earthers. We need to start from scratch to form any new command structure. That is, until we are thrown out.
So do you think the relationship between Martians who stay and the Space Defense Force members will change?
I believe so. There are those members that feel that those that stayed are spies for the Union, so your loyalties will be tested all over again. Commander Taylor, with all the ships coming in now due to recent events, space is getting crowded around the station. So I'm in need of qualified sailor to be the station's fleet liaison officer. You're an outstanding taco, and you know the Martian system inside and out. But before you can turn it down, I already have talked to the Third Fleet, and they agree that you are the best qualified.
Well, sorry, sir. I am assigned to the Sagen Group staff.
Well, good for you, Commander. I'm sure that you'll get assigned to a ship soon.
Hart asked, what is Force Command going to do?
Well, this is the kind of fiat accompli because the UEG was going to debate the status of the Martian colonies. I think that if the colonies waited, they would have been independent in time. Now, with this happening and the demands that they're making, it's likely that there will be war. Space Defense Forces to begin plans to evacuate the bases in 3 months and are not a day sooner. There are no plans to evacuate us or Traveler. In fact, we have been instructed to be ready to handle more fighters and ship operations just in case we want to flout the Accords. I think right now, Command is going to have its hands full with reorganizing. We will need a way to control the space around us because no one knows what will happen after these 3 months. I think flexibility will be the watchword for the time being.
After they left Liddell's quarters, Jan and Lorena were in his quarters. As an LT, he was authorized to have a room with a roommate, so his quarters were small and Spartan. Lorena looked around and shook her head. Jan asked,
What?
In a stuffy, snooty accent, she said,
Ando, this simply won't do. Well, we are heading back tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure that I get Commander's quarters.
Why?
Because I am due those quarters due to my rank. First off, I don't want to live with you and Peter, and secondly, I'm a pampered female and need a lot of space. As a lieutenant commander, I'm authorized. She playfully stuck her tongue out at Jan.
So we can talk about a wedding. Why don't we make arrangements?
I want your dad to give me away. She was surprised how easily the next lie came to her. Remember when I told Father I was engaged to you and he told me that he would not be at my wedding? You know that he is very adamant about relations between Earthers and Martians. Yesterday, when I told him that I was not leaving the Force, he said that he no longer had a daughter.
It's really hard for me to understand it. I'm sorry, baby.
Don't be, love. You have a wonderful family who give you lots of love and respect. And besides, they love me just as if I were their real daughter. I love them almost as much as I do you.
Enough talk, Jan said as he kissed Lorena passionately.
Chapter 17. R.A. Ando took a message from Vice Admiral Robinson. It was cryptic and requested his presence on Seeker immediately. He decided to take his CAG along just in case he was needed. Because he wanted speed, he requested 2 fighters, and they flew to the station. At the main briefing room at Seeker, Ando and Weeks were together, and the 2 station commanders and their respective wing commanders. Commodore Doreen Greeley and Captain George Ivanovich of SVW 48 from Traveler joined Liddell and Riker. After the room was called to attention and Robinson had them take their seats, she sat and said,
Ladies and gentlemen, last night I received a message from the Commars. The commander is calling a commander's conference next week. He called me because due to security concerns, he doesn't want to have the conference planet-side. Commodore Riker, I want your staff to work on a station defense plan for the conference.
Riker nodded in response. Then Robinson turned to Ando and said,
I need a chief of staff since mine defected to the militia. Can you spare Captain Hart? Riker said that she has been doing an outstanding job working with him. I can really use her.
Ando looked at Weeks, who nodded.
No problem, Admiral, but I'd like her back when I can get my wing reconstituted.
I don't foresee that happening anytime soon, but okay. Now, Intel, give us a situation report. The intelligence officer stood up and said, Thank you, ma'am. Right now we are on a 2-day stand-down. We'll have 40 on SCAP. Once the stand-down is over, with 24-hour coverage, we will continue the reconnaissance flights of Martian space. The morale in both wings is high. She looked at Ando. What about your group?
We're at full readiness with what I have. I have a 200-mile multi-layered exclusion zone set up around the carrier. Anyone getting through without authorization will be engaged. I also plan on keeping the wing on full alert.
I want every part of Mars covered with recon flights. If things start to happen, we are going to need pictures of the planet and its defenses.
What about Demios?
Let's worry about that later. Are there any questions or concerns from anyone?
Captain Liddell raised his hand and said, I have no unauthorized absences and 99% of the ships are ready to fly. The one concern I need to address is security. Normal station security was fine during peacetime, but with the situation being in such a disarray, I think we're going to need more.
What is your concern, Captain?
Well, with the concern about sabotage and the fact that now we're getting more ships docking to station security personnel that had normally been responsible for the flight deck are being used extensively. We need a force to protect our operations.
Robinson turned to the Command Marine Detachment Commander and said, Colonel Cade, getting both wings a security force is your job, and I want them in place yesterday. Start by getting troops here, and if you need to select and train augmentees, keep the CAGs and me appraised on their progress.
Aye, aye, ma'am.
Now, Commodore Riker, can you tell us about the station's situation?
Yes, ma'am. The station's crew also has high morale. I have my security team assess the Mardet in any possible. Station defense is 100% ready to defend the outer perimeter of the station. All guns are ready and manned. We will be starting battle drills on a weekly basis to prepare should something happen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have a feel for what is going on. On the matter of security, I think you can use our security detail. I think it's too big for our needs. I also found out that after the conference, unless any changes happen there, MarsCom will be headquartered here as a tenant unit. That's another place where we can take security forces. I don't know any more than that, except that we won't be getting any more assets. They are planned to stay at the bases they are at for the time being. We have a lot to do. Dismissed.
Chapter 18. Jan rose from the bed and prepared for his busy day at the squadron. He was scheduled to fly a 4-ship training flight. After debriefing, he would study because everyone in the wing had to maintain their combat readiness. Jan looked around the corners for Lorena. She was not there, and Jan surmised that she wanted an early start to her duties, since she knew she was flying today, and she did not want to disturb him when she left. Jan started a cup of coffee as he went to the shower. He showered, shaved, and put on his flight suit, then ate a breakfast of toast, eggs, and coffee. He heard the signal that someone was at the door. He opened it to see Dave Corndog Masters, another junior officer in his flight. He was dressed in flight gear as well. He was going to work as the duty officer. Jan picked up his books and walked to the tram car. Once he entered, he asked Dave,
Hey, bro, I heard you have duty dog today.
Yep, just another day in paradise. A lot of work and no clue what's happening.
You got that right.
Jan entered the squad ready room and looked at the sortie board. He noticed that he would be Leg's wingman. He asked Specs about that, and he said that they were on the last port of call on Seeker Beast. Seeker Beast fought with a defector and was put in hack for a week. Jan shrugged and pulled up the flight program and started mission planning. After that was done, they stepped to their jets and took off. Jan was in echelon formation behind Legs going to Range Alpha. The facility on the range for electronic combat was closed for maintenance, so they went in with no arms. Jan would be practicing various releases to be evaluated by the range control computers. As number 2, he was a mile in a trail behind the lead, followed by number 3 and 4. As Jan was running the bomb runs in his head, he was also checking the various bombing checklists because he knew he would not have time to do it during the bomb runs. After he accomplished the checklist, he waited for his lead to request a status report.
Nearing range. Talon flight check-in.
As she sped up to take her spacing a mile ahead of Jan, Jan took his spacing and reported.
2 checks.
And after taking his spacing, he began the process to arm his 4 practice bombs. He was working on this, and he heard 3 and 4 check in. Then he heard Legs request and receive range clearance.
Talon 1, turning downwind. Jan completed his arming and the weapon. Jan completed his arming of the weapons and waited to make it turn and call. Talon 1, turning base.
Talon 2, turning downwind.
Jan said immediately as he made his turn in.
A mile later, I said, 1 turning in. This meant that she was going into the bomb run.
Cleared. In hot.
The controller said. Jan reported.
Talon 2, turning base.
And as he heard number 3 jet report in, he saw in his mind Legs blowing up. He tried to warn her on the radio, but he found it was jammed. Jan instinctively made a hard right turn and disarmed his weapons. After he rolled out, he glanced at the range and saw explosions at various locations, and a large explosion engulfed her. The last thing he heard from anyone was the range controller shouting on the guard frequency.
Range complex alpha.
She never got out the rest of her warning as the range exploded in a bright flash of light. Jan braced himself for the shockwave as it slammed into his fighter hard, jolting him against his straps. He struggled to keep his ship under control as he got on the radio with Legs, calling for Legs, with no response. After the shock passed, he queried the computer to check for damage. After the computer reported that there was no damage, he made a hard right turn into what he saw was left of the debris, just as he heard Specs get on the radio.
Talon flight, I have lead. Steel Eye, get information.
Jan quickly took a fingertip formation behind 3's right wing and saw 4 matching his maneuver behind the left wing.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Specs said over the guard frequency, the universal channel monitored by all ships in space.
Talon 1 flight reporting. Range Alpha destroyed. Cause unknown. And Talon 1 is also missing. We are remaining in the area to search for survivors. Request assistance.
Then, to the wingmen.
Let's go, Talons.
They turned into the disaster area. As they entered the debris field, Jan looked all around and used his sensors to try and find any signs of life, an escape pod, a figure in a space boot, anything. He tried his instinct to no avail. He got on the radio and said,
3, this is 2. There is nothing left out there. 3, 4 here. Nothing here either.
We stay out here until we reach bingo fuel.
They kept looking throughout the field and found no survivors. They heard over the guard frequency, Talon Flight, this is Icarus. We are in range. We will take over rescue operations. Jan saw a space defense force destroyer arrived. He looked at his flight lead and saw a waggle of wings, the signal for the flight to depart the area. The flight turned right and headed back over to the carrier. After the fighters landed and debriefed, they slumped in their seats in the ready room. The squadron commander came in and asked Specs.
Okay, Specs, we need to get an initial report. The CAG will be here later, but I want to get your eyewitness reports first. Steel Eyes, you were her wingman, so you go first.
I was turning downwind. My weapons were armed. Legs just turned base and was cleared and hot. At that time, I felt something, then saw a strange signal on the sensor, which I never saw before. It only lasted a second, and then I saw the first explosion. I made a hard right turn and aborted my run when I saw her get caught up in one of the explosions. The range went up at that time.
Boots, did you or Specs get that signal on your ECM?
Boots said, no, boss, I didn't notice it. I was getting my weapons armed when I saw the explosions.
All I saw were explosions, Specs said. I want Ando's data tapes now.
Hardnose said on the intercom to maintenance.
All right, Steel Eye. If the tapes show that there was a strange signal for such a short time, then it might be limited in range. If so, there might have been a ship nearby.
Sir, that would be in violation of the range safety rules, and it would have been spotted by the range security officer. Jan knew they wouldn't believe his instincts, so they didn't say any more.
True, we're going to send all your mission tapes to Intel. The CAG will be looking for a briefing later on today. I want you guys to get a rest. The beer lamp is on, but stay at your quarters until called. Dismissed.
They emptied the ready room. In flag plot, Ando reviewed the initial reports and turned to the chief of staff.
Ron, what's the report from Icarus?
Sir, Icarus reports that there were no survivors. They brought in all the debris and they're analyzing it now. The initial conclusion from Intel states that it was possible for a small ship that activated a detonation signal to various sub-kiloton nuclear charges placed on the range. The increase in background radiation confirms that.
Ando interrupted in shock.
They planted nukes at the range?
Yes, sir. And they also said that the signal was on Talon 2's ECM, indicated a short-range communication frequency used on civilian ships, and the ship was probably destroyed in the explosion. Hopefully, the analysis will tell us more about the instigator.
I want to know how a ship can get into the range security area without being seen by range security and for fighters.
Well, sir, I can't speak for the range security yet, but I can say that Talon Flight was in the middle of bombing operations. Since we are not in combat operations, they would have been focused on the run rather than looking for any threats.
One of them was looking at the ECM like it could have been.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's assume that this was sabotage. It would seem like the Martians are starting a terror campaign and are upping the ante by using nukes. I already lost one pilot. I do not want to lose any more. I talked to Seeker, and they said that no ship is to dock before being thoroughly searched. We need to see what else we can do. Keep the group on yellow alert. I do not want anyone, and I mean anyone, entering our exclusion zone. I'm going to get permission to expand our armed patrols. I also want security increased immediately. I want 2 priority channels, one to FlightCom so I can let her know about the explosion. I guess the enemy is not giving us a chance to rest.
Later that night, Jan was lying in his bed looking at the ceiling. The door chime sounded. Jan said,
"Go away."
When it persisted, he opened the door and saw his father.
"Hi, Dad. This is a surprise. Since when does the ruler of us all decide to make a house call, especially in an emergency? Knock it off. I decided to use commander's prerogative to see my son. Where's Lorena?"
Jan brought him a drink from their fridge and said,
"She's busy at work. She wanted to come home, but I said I was okay." "Well, are you?" "I barely knew her. She didn't deserve to get caught in the crossfire. I don't even think she knew what hit her. She was the first one I knew who got killed flying. Does it get any easier, Dad? You know, when someone dies? I've seen many a man or woman die in accidents and in combat, and I've done many a missing man formation myself. It never gets easier. All you can do is place death in a small box inside and keep going. Otherwise, you stay in your room and stare at the ceiling. I also wanted to ask you about that signal you saw. Dad, before my equipment registered the signal, I saw legs blow up in my mind. Your instinct, huh?" "Yep." "Then I saw the ECM just before the explosions. I never had the chance to warn her before because we were jammed. I think it was a long-range data burst, specially aimed at the range satellite. How come it didn't show up on the other ship's receivers? I have a theory. It was an aimed single-beam data burst, and I only saw it because I was in range and because my instinct told me where to look. The problem with my gift is that sometimes it's so vague it takes time to interpret it. The others weren't down one yet. You might have something there. We're trying to get one of the recording satellites film records of the explosion. That might give us some insight into what happened."
Lorena came in and saw them talking. She said, "Hello, Dad. What a surprise."
Just came in to see how your fiance was doing." Jan walked over to her and said, "Hi, honey. Dad came to cheer me up."
"Are you fine?"
"I'll live, baby. After all, I'm Steeleye, a certified aerial assassin." Tran said, "I must get going. Jan, if you need anything, let me know. Lorena, keep an eye on him." "Bye, Dad." When they were alone, Jan asked her, "Hard day at work?"
"Yeah, we finished a new group defense plan. I just got done briefing the staff."
Legs was the first person I saw to buy the farm. It shook me up a bit, but Dad helped me get through it. I'm going to take a shower, honey.
Jan kissed her and went to the shower. Jan was letting the water flow over him when he felt soft hands caressing his tight chest. Jan sighed in contentment, but then led her out of the shower and headed to the bedroom. Later, Jan held her in his arms and said,
"Baby, I'm scared."
She surprised him by saying,
"Let me tell you something, love. We were conducting a weapons evaluation on the Sterling 2 weeks ago. I was with 2 weapons crewmen in the forward gun spaces. Just as we fired the first shot, a coolant seal burst. The first crewman froze to death instantly, and when he fell, he shattered into a million pieces. I took the other crewman and pulled him out of the compartment before the gas reached toxic levels and sealed the compartment. By the time that they vented the gas so rescue teams could get in, the pieces had melted and there was nothing left but blood. I sat in my room crying for 2 days. Then I wrote the letter to the crewmen's parents and went on to my duties. It's the nature of the beast, whether in combat or by senseless acts of sabotage or by accidents. We face all the time, but we must get over it and we will become basket cases ourselves."
"I know. Love, I'll be okay."
Jan said. Ando wanted to order a group-wide stand-down to honor Johansson's memory, but he decided not to. He kept the group in a high alert, saying that they will mourn her when the crisis ended. Then, when he returned to his quarters, he got on the secure communications channel to contact Tanya and give her the news. Tanya offered to let her family know the bad news. Her husband was an engineer on board a transport ship stationed on Earth.
Tanya asked, "How is Jan?"
He's scared and he's angry. He feels that he should have done something about it, but knows he couldn't. This is the first time he faced death. Damn it, Tanya. It could have been him. If he had been on the bomb run, he would have been killed.
Yes, my love. It could have been. How do you feel about it?
Angry. I want to lash out at the bastards who did this. There was no reason to do this because Earth was giving them everything.
Terrorists need no reason. But remember, Tran, we raised a very good man with strong values, and he'll know what to do. You have to keep being an example, not only to him, but to all of your charges, my love.
I know.
Now, what are you going to do about this situation, lover?
Unfortunately, there's nothing I could do about this because of the damn Accords. I honestly want to bombard something, but I've ordered intelligence to investigate this and find out how it happened. I'm going again to FleetCom to see if we can do anything short of going to war.
I will tell you this, Admiral. If that would have been Jan, once the war started, I would be leading that first sortie for you.
Tanya, I know you're a reservist and fully qualified to be leading a squadron, but isn't it enough that both of your men and your future daughter-in-law are warriors? I don't want you in harm's way.
Admiral, I'm going to forget you said that. My love, you married a warrior, remember?
How could I ever forget, honey? My face remembers the slap.
As you should. Love as you should. Now remember that we will always face the future together, and I will be fighting beside you.
I could never tell you no, Lieutenant Commander.
Just remember that, Admiral, my love.
She signed off.
Tanya went to her computer and sent a message to an unknown addressee. The short message was, "It's time for me to get involved." She signed it only with the initials KL.
The next day, Jan reported to the wing intelligence officer after his flight. In the office were Weeks and Hardnose. On the conference call were Ando, Vice Admiral Robinson, Commodore Riker, Captains Liddell, and Hart. The intelligence officer said,
"We took the cameras from the satellite around the range and integrated with the sensor data from each fighting ferret. We believe that this was a long-range data link to a series of explosives located in the range complex. Although it was a line of sight burst, we triangulated the point of origin."
He brought up a picture of Demios on the screen.
"CAG, it came from these coordinates on Demios."
Ando said quietly, and then said,
Admiral, we're within range of Demios.
Robinson nodded, and he said,
CAG, begin continuous reconnaissance and cap flights over Demios. Start planning attack missions for presentation to FlightCom. Make sure we're integrated with Seeker and Traveler.
Robinson said,
Admiral Ando, I want you and someone to come with Hart and me to Marscom headquarters with me today to present this information. I think the enemy is hiding something on Deimos, and I want to find out.
Ando and Hart nodded their heads. After the conference, Weeks asked,
Admiral, when do you want the reconnaissance flights implemented?
I want you to start them tomorrow. I want every inch of that rock covered with fighters taking pictures. Lieutenant Ando, are you still within duty limits? Yes, sir. I want you to fly down with us. You've earned that right. We brief in an hour. Dismissed.
Dagger 1 flight, which were 2 fully armed Fighting Ferret EWs from 480, roared out of the carrier towards Seeker. They joined 2 Tiger Hawks of Striker 1 flight that left from Seeker. They were linked in fingertip formation. They became Striker flight and headed to Mars with their destination as Baker SDFB. The flight went in silence until they started their descent when a ground controller got on the radio and said,
Striker 1 flight, your descent clearance has been revoked. Please keep your altitude and return to your base.
This is Striker 1. We have an approved flight plan to Baker Base.
You did Striker flight, but it has been revoked.
By whose authority?
By the authority of the Martian militia and the Martian Union. Now keep your altitude and return to base. If you do not, you will be considered hostile and engaged.
Jan, Striker 4 said,
This is 4. My sensors just filled up with enemy defenses. I have high priority targets everywhere.
2, this is 1. I see it. Stand by.
Hart, Striker 2, went to the discrete frequency.
1, 2. Do you think they know what we were planning? It's not much of a secret that the range was under my authority. What do we do, 1? We go back. I expected this, but I still had to try. To the ground controller. Striker 1, flight returning to base. The 4 fighters turned toward the station.
When they returned to the station, the 4 of them went to Admiral Robinson's office. She got a channel to the commander of Baker Base on Mars.
Admiral Rockman, can you tell me what the hell is going on down there? I tried to get there, and we were told not to enter their space or we would be engaged. And then the defenses went apeshit down there.
Terry, the shit hit the fan here. Once they found out what happened at the range, they were celebrating in the streets. Admiral Tryon ordered all our forces to stay put on our bases. Then we got word from the government that the Space Defense Force lost its flying rights in Martian airspace.
So they know that where the signal came from. We have reliable intelligence that the detonation signal came from a facility on Deimos.
Damn, I was afraid of that. I knew they were hiding something there.
Put me through to Admiral Tyron.
I'm going to get him on the line.
The screen went blank. During the wait, Robinson said to them,
I want you in on the conference with the CINC, and afterward, we'll talk.
Soon, the screen showed Admiral and Tyron. Tyron said, Admiral Robinson, tell me about the explosion. She not only briefed the situation, but also showed the video of the sabotage. After that, Tryon said, well, we have a problem. I understand you are working on plans to prepare possible strikes in conjunction with Ando.
Yes, sir. When we determined what had happened, I ordered recon flights and strike planning. I expect to be briefed tomorrow on them.
He said, Terry, we have a secure communications, but only as long as they don't sabotage our communications facility. I'm giving you a direct order, Admiral. As you're a senior officer out there, I'm giving you freedom of action. I don't want to lose any more people. I want you to start reconnaissance tomorrow. Continue strike planning, but do not initiate any strikes until I give you the word.
Aye, aye, sir. What about your situation?
I have been in contact with the Force Commander. He doesn't want us to instigate a war. The UEG is negotiating with the Martian Union right now. I think it will be hard now that sabotage has started. I'm thinking we may have to force our way out. We are planning for that contingency. Right now, we don't want to start this thing, but I don't want to find out what they have out there in Damios. That's your priority.
Aye, aye, sir.
Tryon said. Keep me posted. As long as we can receive it, send any real-time data you can get. And now, what's the defensive posture of your station?
We have big ship parking areas 10 kilometers away, and we created an outer defense zone 6 kilometers away from them with 4 combat air patrol orbits. So if an incoming ship strays from the approach or departure points, they will be intercepted. Then we have medium defense zone where if they intrude, they will be engaged by the cap. Finally, we have an inner zone, and if they get there, they'll be attacked by station defenses. Ships must be on the exact approach and departure points, and we must be squawking properly. No more than 4 capital ships are allowed to be at any specific parking area, and no carriers or large ships can enter the inner zones.
Ando interjected. We have a carrier exclusion zone established. It's a 200-mile zone. We keep it strictly enforced.
Good. Do what you have to do, but don't start this war without orders. Understood? They all chimed.
Aye,
Sir.
Sir.
After the meeting, Ando said to Robinson,
Ma'am, may I suggest that you transfer your flag to Saigon? Saigon is the safest place in the sector.
Do you think it's necessary? Hart said, I agree with Admiral Ando. If the shit hits the fan, we will definitely need you mobile. Robinson smiled and said, you just want Hart back as DCAG, but you may be right. Hart, make the arrangements to transfer my flag. Aye, aye, ma'am.
And that is the end of this portion of Radio King Dolphin TV.
Bum, bum, bum.
Da, da, da.
I am so sorry for being late. I got I got bricked in traffic.
Well, that's at least we know how to handle Gumby, don't we, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Stay
I'm
tuned
glad
next time for another reading on King Dolphin TV and find out what happens next.
yes,
The Martian Union will destroy all. We are strong and independent.
You are
nothing.
We are moose and squirrel.
Exactly.
what Agent
Martians will
51?
conquer all.
It's Marina who's going to destroy all. Empress of the world.
Yeah, I think you guys did great, and I know Jill's got a bail. So thank you.
I do,
much.
but these were great chapters to read. The war is well underway, and you already had a major death here. That was something.
Yeah. Yep.
They killed legs.
They killed
legs.
They killed legs.
She got legs.
Damn you, killing legs.
Damn you, Walter.
Right. Yes, you're right.
And she knew how to use them.
Yeah.
That'll be
so
in,
evil.
that'll be in her eulogy. Yes.
Yeah.
She knew how to use them.
ZZ Top will be singing. ZZ Top will be doing the eulogy.
And now the head and vocal cords of ZZ Top in a jar.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
And like you said, yes, I do want to head out. I got
Okay.
something I got to prepare for stuff. So I'll see you guys later.
You have fun.
Thanks
Jill.
again, Jill. It was great meeting.
Bye.
Bye, Jill.
All right. Let's see what has. Let's see. Other than. Let's see. Other than Trike in the background, I think he was trying to make himself heard.
He's an admiral.
Yeah, he's
Obviously.
yeah. FKHC says, yeah, Trek wants to be part of the show.
Exactly. He's the ship's mascot.
Oh yeah. Let's
Or the
see.
ship's commander, one or the other.
Yeah, that's true. He's
Admiral
the ultimate. He's the ultimate emperor of the pod.
That's it.
Let's see.
That's right. I will be heard.
Right.
Under trike.
Let's see.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Sandra, bringing of cookies, baker of bread, she rules the pod with the unrolling pin of doom.
I want to try Sandra's cookies. We've been inundated by Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Girl Scouts.
Yesterday, I remember that I got a walk for myself on Saturday, showed it off on an unboxing, and yesterday I was going to do cooking with Raymond.
Okay.
Yeah, so the fried rice came out good, but the problem was the microphone that I was using didn't work on my camera.
No. Oh no.
Yeah, so it's silent cooking with Raymond. I still may put the video out there.
No, that just means you can dub in funny audio on it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not that knowledgeable, so anybody who can help, I would appreciate it. All right.
Shit, at least you can eat their fried rice though.
Well,
You don't want to have cooking with
We
Tasha
could.
because my cooking is terrible.
I could. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up. Send me the clip. I'll speed it up like 500. I'll do like a Benny Hill sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll do that. GS is airborne in a Phenon 300E going to flight level 450 at 0.8 Mach. Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk to me, Goose.
Would you absolutely positively have to be there now?
Yeah.
I feel the need for slowness.
Yeah.
Going that fast will get me to warmer weather sooner.
Yeah. Hello, old man bird. How you doing?
0.8
Hello,
Mach is not,
GS.
it's not that fast. 0.2, 0.8.
0.8? That's pretty
No,
fast.
It said 0.28.
No, it's 0.8.
Oh,
Mach 0.8.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
0.8.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're cruising.
Let's see. Again, AP1 said duty. Jill says, Earther. Sounds like Spock's bullies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, we got
Sanders.
Gary.
Yeah. Hello, Gary. How
Yo,
you doing?
Gary.
Yeah.
Hello.
Gally is here.
What's up, dude?
Yes. Hello, buddy.
Gary.
Gary Ambrosia. Da, 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 da. Okay. Let's see. So now that the story is getting into the exciting part, what did you guys think of the reading?
That was pretty good.
Fun.
Hey, I liked it.
I miss my Martian overload a bit, you know.
Oh, it'll be coming back.
Yeah.
More sand squirrel. More sand squirrel.
That's right.
Old Man Bird says, reminds me of Star Wars Battlefront 2 when Special Forces bad girl and hottie Eden Versio defies her father Admiral Versio on the bridge of his Star Destroyer. Wow.
Mm. Really?
Hello, Swift -1. How you doing, buddy?
Swifty.
How you doing? Oh. This one. Okay, let's see. Ah, you're an outstanding taco.
Yep.
Bear wants a taco now. What? I don't know which one removed this chat. I did remove it. It was me. It was me, Bird.
Or was it?
It was a King Dolphin who wrote this. And there's where you can find out about the books. All three of them.
Buy now before they're
Boy,
gone.
you will be forced to do so.
Yes.
Before a certain polar bear comes to visit you and eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Martian-
exactly. Buy now for one price. It will
Yes.
triple by tomorrow.
Yeah. Martian Defense Dog Corps. And hello again, Gary Ambrosia.
Hey, Gary.
What's up, dude?
Oh no. The excrement hit the oscillatory circulating device. All right.
It did.
Yes. Okay. Next episode, Admiral Trike's Revenge.
Yep.
Bum, 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 bum.
It's going to be bad.
Try-
Oh, these Martians.
Yes. I like Girl Scout cookies, Thin Mints. Snort-
I'm sorry, SKHC 2005. They're terrible. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't like them. Snort says, I don't like Girl Scout cookies. They're not made from real Girl Scouts.
I know. Such a disappointment. But they got a creamy filling.
Ah.
You know, years and years ago, I was in the brownies, and
Yeah.
I bet you the Girl Scout cookies from back then would still be edible today. That should tell you something.
Ooh.
Oh.
You know, you could taste the gluten-free. Like, yeah, the
That's
Thin
a
Mints aren't the Thin Mints aren't gluten-free, so they still taste the same.
It's a preserving agent. We all know it.
Ah.
Preserves it for all eternity.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What lasts longer, Twinkies or Girl Scout cookies?
Yeah.
I
Let's
bet
find
the
out.
later. I bet on the latter. Oh my god.
I bet
Or
you.
McDonald's cheeseburger.
I bet you if you toss a Girl Scout cookie at somebody and it hits their forehead, they'll be knocked out for
Yeah.
days.
You know, if you find a box of Girl Scout cookies with a sticker on it, just 99 cents, you know they're still good. However long that was ago.
There's also limited edition cookies.
Mhm.
You take that, a box of those, and Chuck Norris, and you have an unstoppable weapon.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
No, Chuck Norris wouldn't even touch those.
Even more so. No, because
Twinkie-
those cookies would submit to Chuck Norris.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
They're limited edition.
Twinkies have a half-life of 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could use those for insulation in a house.
Yeah. Are Girl Scout cookies made with real Girl Scouts in them? We do not know.
They don't have Girl Scouts in them. They're not made by Girl Scouts. They're made for Girl Scouts to be sold by Girl Scouts.
You know this sad
world
thing is,
may
I know when
never
I was
know.
in this I know when I was in the Scouts, we made actually brownies and stuff and cookies. Those were a lot better than any of those Girl Scout cookies that you buy.
Yeah.
See, at least that makes sense, right? Because, it's in the name, brownies. So why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, why not make brownies? I want brownies.
Yeah.
God, I gotta have brownies now. Dang.
Yeah.
You want me to
I
make you
have-
some?
Yes.
I had Oreos. I had Oreos before coming on.
Yeah, but it's not a
Oreos?
brownie. want a brownie.
Oh, All right.
I want a brownie. I want a brownie.
Yeah, I
Listen
want
to
Agent
yourself.
51 brownie.
And I want Sandra Feliciano cookies. We can't all get what we want when we want it.
I know.
You know, yesterday I was at the grocery store. I saw a guy with a McLaren. And I was like, ooh, I want that. But I didn't go steal it.
Oh,
No, you just borrow it permanently.
yeah.
So, and on top of that, where it's so freezing cold for Agent Pepsi 1 right now, if she mails them, they'll stay preserved in the coldness when
Good.
ship.
Stop
Let
grabbing,
the
though.
hate flow through
Exactly.
you.
Hey, Dalek451. How you doing, buddy? Thank you. Thank you very much. He says, good reading, guys. You
Thank
are
you.
most
Exterminate.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know this is the part of the show everybody really wants to hear.
Raymond, play the show notes.
It's
Do
time
it
for
now.
show notes. It's time for show notes. It's time for show
Raymond,
show.
I got a question for you, though.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, like at the beginning where you show that you show that trailer and you have, you know, the coffee being poured.
Yeah.
That was me this morning at work.
Nice.
Oh my god!
Nice.
Oh, I like super strong coffee, and I still couldn't get going.
Oh, my. Oh, wow. Well, we'll have to resolve that. All right.
It's time for show notes. It's time for show notes. Yeah, with Mr. Raven and Sandra too. It's time for show notes. We're bringing it on. It's time for show notes. You've all been warned. It's time for show notes.
Good. Good, Mr. Raymond.
Yes.
Now kill him. Now kill him.
All right. Show notes. This Saturday, just because, as usual, the chaos ensues. On the 26th, a week from tonight, we're going to have more Fantastic Four reviews. We'll do the next couple books back from the Kirby era. March 1st, we'll do Just Cause, and I haven't decided on a theme for March 8th, but I'll figure that out and let you know this weekend. On March 12th, 3 weeks from now, Anti-Derivative Jill and I will be discussing the Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left
Behind.
What We Left Behind. We will be talking about that on the 12th. So that's what we got so far. And so that is show notes. Let's see. And Snortopoopus. I can't put that one. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to show it.
Huh.
Bad. That is so bad.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Good, Snortopoopus. Feel the hate flowing through you.
Snortopoopus
It'll
says,
make me stronger. Yes.
Only
Um,
together will you join the dark side of the force.
yeah. Let's see. I want to see what this. Okay, Sloth Bear. I got to see what Sloth Bear is. Oh, okay.
And together we shall rule the galaxy.
All right. Here is a Sloth Bear. I'm gonna. But let's see. Snortopoopa says, take care of a human, dolphin, doggo, Dalek, parrot, ego, hedgehog, and sloth bear. TM, a wholly owned subsidiary of King Dolphin TV.
Good night, Snortopoopus.
Good night,
Bye.
Snortopoopus.
Night, Snoot. And let's see. And here is a picture of a sloth bear. He's kind of cute.
I don't see anything.
There it is.
Aww. He has a little smiley face on his chest.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
I gotta love him and hug him and squeeze him and call him George.
Yeah.
Hi, Sandra.
Sandra says, good night, everyone. Be sure to go to Pop Culture Breakdown and tell them it's a pod raid. Yes.
Pod raid.
And thanks to Snorty, demonetized. Well, I'm not even monetized. Yeah. You got to be monetized to get demonetized. Yeah.
Monetize this.
Yeah. Monetize this. Assimilate this.
Well, sweeties, it's time for me to go too.
All right. Oh, Don, I
I
wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
Could you stick around in the green room? Because I got to ask you
Okay.
something. All right. All right. So let me say goodnight to everybody, and I'll make this quick. To the guests who were there, thank you. Thank you, Gary Ambrosia. Thank you, GS. Thank you, Old Man Bird. Thank you, Pudgy Hedgehog. And of course, Bobo was in there in the background. We had Swift -1. And thank you to the guests. And now the Lifeguard Corps. Our ace producers, Sandra and Tamer of Trike.
Right.
If that's even possible. FKHC 2005. Legatus Legionii. The Great Snortopoopas Q-Bar. Who will be on 2 closers here. And yes, 2 closers. Only because I've already got one set on the StreamYard ending stream. But there's this special one that's going to come up. But before we go, thank you, Comic Relief Crusader. Thank you very much. Love your
No,
readings.
all good. All good.
Yeah. Thank you, Max. Yeah. Better late than never. You came out and you carried the ball.
Well, I'm going to try my best. Sorry again for being late.
No worries. And of course, the lovely Agent Pepsi One.
Thank
Agent
you.
Pepsi One. Thank you very much. And we will see you. Oh yeah. Let me see if I've got it in the private chat. Let's see. Hey, Comic, put your GoFundMe out there again.
Oh, yeah. I will find it right here.
Because I gotta go way.
I'm working on it. Okay. I'm just here. No, damn it. Wrong one.
And Pop Culture Breakdown is live.
Yes.
You what? Already?
Yeah. Or at least the chat. The chat is live.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, and there's my Comic Relief's GoFundMe.
Yeah.
All right. You want to say anything about it, or just
No, I'm okay. It's it's a thing. Just things are a little hard here in Canada. Everybody kind of knows why anyway.
Yep.
And if you can help, that'd be great.
Yep. Check
and
it out.
And thank you for everybody that has helped.
Check it out, and if you can help, please do. All right. So this is going to be an odd one because, like I said, StreamYards is a pain in the butt to turn this off. So we will see you guys on Saturday for Just Cuz, the place where anything can happen and usually does. And and Gumby is ever present. I love the snorter pooper's backstroke on that one. He
So
says,
happy.
dive, waves a paw, and dives in the water. Well, good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Night.
Hey,
Stick around in the back room.